Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Ranger Mario, and today I have the lovely lady. She's a mom, hardworking agent, an amazing person, Lexi Shaw.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lexi. I'm with Goosehead Insurance, Sexton Thompson Agency. Super excited to be here today and answer some great questions coming from him.
All right, so we're in the fall stages of the year. There's changes between the weather and the weather changing to the hurricane coming in and out. What are the changes that you have seen over the past couple of months?
So one of the biggest changes we've seen is we've seen a lot of carriers in Texas put a lot of restrictions on. There's been so many storms, hurricanes, just tropical storms. You've had bad weather, floods. Mm-hmm. Houston's been hit a lot. So we've seen the market shift. Rates increasing, carriers pulling out of Texas, carriers putting a lot of restrictions on Houston and some of the surrounding areas in general. So those are some big market factors that we are seeing. I think it's really important for everyone to reevaluate those policies right now to make sure they're covered properly for those storms. Flood insurance is one of the things that I think is super big because flood, for those who don't know, there's typically a 30-day wait for flood insurance. So those people who are like, oh my God, there's a storm right now, let me get flood insurance. It doesn't work like that unless it's like a new home closing. So I think that's something important for people to look into to make sure they have the right coverages for those storms.
Right. You mentioned about the insurance pulling out. Mm-hmm. What happened to those active policies that when the carriers are no longer in there?
So most of them, what they're doing is they're putting a non-renewal up. So they're covering them up until that renewal date. So we've seen several where at that renewal date, there'll be a DNR, which is a do not renew. So the client will get that notification. The agent typically gets that notification as well. And then when you work with a broker like Goosehead, our service team is also sending another notification like, hey, your policy is going to non-renew. And what we're doing is we just have to make sure we're getting you new coverage before that point. Right. But that is something where a lot of carriers are doing those right now in our state.
Great. So during a contract, and what are some things that a consumer should look out when choosing the right policy?
Yeah, so when it comes to choosing the right policy with insurance, there's a lot of things for you to look for. Obviously, one of the biggest things I'll say is, are they insuring the home at replacement cost value or actual cash value? Replacement cost is what it's actually going to take to rebuild that home versus actual cash value is more like pennies for the dollar. Mm-hmm. So they're taking back that amount by the depreciation of the home. So as the home gets older, they're going to give you less and less money for that home. So that's something we're seeing. Replacement cost for the roof, actual cash value for the roof. As roofs get older, once they hit the 10-year mark, most companies are going to do actual cash value. And that's something people may slip in there to make that policy lower as well. So keep an eye on that. Some other things I would always say to pay attention to are deductibles. Deductibles are huge. What you're paying for your deductible, are you comfortable paying that amount? Mm-hmm. And I know not every case can you go lower on that deductible. We are seeing the minimum wind and hail deductibles are changing in Texas. Right. We're starting to see that 1% deductible fly out the door. It's not going to be a thing probably much longer. So we're seeing 2% deductible and a 3% deductible. There's carriers for Houston where there's a minimum of a 3% wind and hail deductible. So shop and make sure that's something you're okay with. Do you want to save that money and have that higher deductible, or are you okay spending more to have a lower? And then lastly, I would say water coverages. Those are huge. They're optional endorsements. So there's 3 separate water coverages you can have on a policy. There's water backup, seepage and leakage, and foundation water damage coverage. So those are optional endorsements, and a lot of times I see people without those coverages, but water claims happen. They're very common. So I would recommend just making sure you know what coverages you can have and what you can't have, and making sure your policy is covering what you want it to cover.
Right. So you're based in San Antonio. Has there been a difference in terms of insurance between San Antonio area and the Houston area?
So I am based in San Antonio. I'm from Houston, born and raised. So I moved to San Antonio about 2 years ago. But what I will say is the insurance market from there to here is completely different. I have a lot of clients here just because family and everything like that, and referrals and working with realtors and stuff here. But the rates are insane. Just this morning I had a client in Katy, and he's buying an older home, older roof, and the rates are probably double the price for the insurance, and the coverage, in my opinion, for some of these carriers offering stuff here isn't the same. So it's a little bit trickier to find people who are willing to take things. I think people in Houston really need to focus on bundling, because bundling is going to find them the best savings. Versus San Antonio, I feel like you can get away with not bundling as much because the rates aren't quite at that point.
Right.
But we've just watched, I feel like since May, I've seen the rates just go higher and higher in Houston. It's scary, and I feel so bad. And that's why I'm on people's side, and I want to help them find what's best for them.
Right. So there's a lot of agents across both metro areas, especially Goosehead. It's been advertised a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. What sets you apart from other agents?
Yeah, so that's actually a really great question. I feel like there's so many agents, so many Goosehead agents, so many brokers in general. I think what sets me apart is my clients and my partners are my priority. I'm going to do what it takes to get what is in your best interest and what you want. I know everybody has certain things they want on a policy, whether it's price, whether it's coverage, whether it's a combination of both. I am going to do what it takes to get you the best deal for you. Not every policy is made for every home or every person, you know, and that's why I think it's great to have a broker on your side, because I can help explore those options, but I'm not just going to put you in the best thing because I think it. I'm going to provide those options, and I'm going to explain each one, and I'm on my client's side whether they're going with me or not. I'm there to compare options and help them find what's best for them. So I think that's what does it for me.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, personally, I know I seen my dad shop for insurance, and
Yeah.
I was supposed to get a discount, but because of me, it's
Higher.
It's higher. It is, and I seen what his insurance agent has given, like, not the best, and it's not the worst, but
Yeah.
I think it could have been done better. There were better options.
Yeah, I think rates right now are super high, and it's huge because not everybody's used to it. We're seeing the biggest increases. So people are like, oh, I only paid $1,400 a year ago or 2 years ago. And Texas had one of the biggest spikes in insurance we've seen over the last year and a half, 2 years. So it's scary, and people aren't used to it. And they're looking at it and they're like, you're lying. And it's like, no, we really are. This is just what we're going through. Unfortunately, the market is shifting. But you need someone who's going to, you know, obviously explain that and shop it. I think young drivers being on policies, it's expensive. Yeah. Anytime somebody has a young driver, I'm like, yeah, your insurance is it's not going to be cheap, unfortunately. But, you know, there's other options out there. There's discounts.
Right.
I mean, there's discounts for being a college graduate, having, you know, good student. So good student discounts. There's certain jobs can get discounts with certain carriers, military, certain carriers. Now, every carrier is different, but that's why it's so great to shop amongst all of the carriers to make sure you're getting everything you can to save every penny you can while also getting the coverage you want.
Right.
So
as a working mom, you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so as a working mom, how do you balance it? So I know you have a daughter.
Yeah, being a working mom is so hard. I was actually thinking about that earlier today, and I was telling my grandmother about it yesterday. My daughter's 2.5. I'm a single mom, and I think it's the hardest thing, but I also think it's what makes me relatable to everybody. There's so many people who are like me. I'm going to be honest, there's so many single moms out there, and it's a relatable thing, and I can talk to people about their child and, you know, understand and relate to them. But I work a lot. I switched my daughter to 3 days a week in daycare versus I originally had her 5 days a week. but daycare is so expensive.
Yeah,
It's so
I know.
expensive. I was like, oh my God, wait, I can't do that. But I take her to work with me, and she's great. My coworkers are all super helpful. She knows mommy has to work, and I tell her, I'm like, hey, if you do this, we're gonna go do something fun this weekend, and I spoil the crud out of her. But it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure. But I just want to do what I can to provide everything I want her to have in life, and I want to be able to save up so she can go to school and do whatever she wants to do in the future.
Right.
So
So how's that work out? Like having your child with you at work? I think. Well,
yeah.
from what I have seen, a lot of places they don't let you do
Yeah.
that.
I will say insurance is a little bit different. Most of my work it's my work. At the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I work for somebody, but I'm bringing in those leads. Those are my relationships, my partners, and they're referring me to people. When I'm in the office, my daughter's super great. I can put her in the other room. We have a media room, so I'll let her go watch a show or something. We have a little mat. I'll lay her down under my desk, and she'll sleep down there and take naps. But she's very well behaved. I'm a very lucky mom. I'll just put it that way. I'm so lucky. She's so good. I get away with a lot with her.
Yeah.
So it's really not as bad as people think it is. I have seen some people's kids, and I'm like, oh, I would never be able to do that. But I'm very blessed, if I say so.
Right. Is there any memories before you were a mom that you wish you could go back to?
Like before I was a mom?
Yeah.
Honestly, that sounds so sad. I was gonna be like, no. I was a college athlete, and I do miss that. I played college softball. I was super athletic. I worked out all the time. So sometimes I wish I could do that. I have a hard time making time for myself to do some of those things now. Like, I'm trying to get myself back in the gym, but I find myself either working or being a mom.
Right.
So it's hard to find the time to do that. And but I wouldn't trade any of it to go back. I'm so happy. I'm probably the happiest I've ever been. And yeah.
Nice.
So.
Is there any hobbies you do besides being a mom?
Any hobbies? I hate to say this. No, I'm a very boring person. I like to hang out with my friends. I don't do any hobbies. I want to. I just don't know what
Right.
hobbies I would do, to be honest. One of my coworkers does Pilates, and I'm like, I should do Pilates. But no, unfortunately. I do a lot, though. We travel a lot. I mean, that's not really a hobby, but we do
Yeah, I've seen. You
yeah,
went to the,
we travel. We go do a lot of stuff. We love the outdoors, so we'll go to pumpkin patches. We'll go to amusement parks. We'll go to, we've gone to Kalahari a few times, Six Flags. We do a lot of stuff. I just don't have any hobbies.
Right.
So.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
fun. I know. I'm like, I feel like we're fun. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
living lavish, but not really.
What's the best compliment you ever received?
Man, I feel like one of the best compliments I've ever received. That's a hard one. I don't even know. I've had so many on my personality. I like compliments on my personality. I'm a very genuine person, and I work really hard to do everything, and I just want to help everybody. So when somebody compliments my personality, that actually, it feels good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It doesn't feel superficial or anything like that. I don't know. So,
Right.
but I can't think of anything just off the top of my head. So.
Yeah. If you could change something about the insurance industry, what would it be?
Gosh, I know it sounds crazy. I wish I could, help bring prices down. As a single mom, and a homeowner, I own a house. I have a car. I'm young. So I've shopped myself. I've shopped myself with other people too. Rates are so expensive. I wish rates were lower, because I said this not long ago, but I finally understand why some people go without insurance. They would choose that over food or groceries. I've had clients say that to me. So to me, it's I never want that to be an issue, and I wish it wasn't an issue, but unfortunately we just live I get why insurance companies have to raise their rates, but I wish there was a way to lower them. Yeah, I feel bad. I hate that people have to choose. You know.
Yeah, in the world of politics, we are trying to work something out with insurance.
Yeah.
Because it is controlled by the government. I think not our local, but in the Senate, they've been trying to work something out, work a bill out. I know Greg Abbott has talked about it. People don't hear about that, about him. And it goes back to what our economy's at. I think
Exactly.
there's been lots of changes.
Yeah. Inflation's definitely a thing, but
A lot.
yeah, it's a big thing for sure.
Yeah, working hard on that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get better in 6 months.
I'm like, yeah. This time of year is always rough too. I mean, it's election time. It's hurricane season. You know, it's just so many factors are going into play.
Right.
So everything's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What is a challenge you face in life?
I think like a personal challenge that I've faced in life is that I am a people pleaser. I want everyone to like me, and I get so upset. I get so sad when somebody doesn't. I'm that person. So I think that's one thing I've faced in life. Like a physical challenge I've faced in life would probably be, man, I don't know if not many people know this, but like last year my house burnt down that I was living in.
Oh, no.
And like it was a rental property, but we lost everything. So I feel like and that was October 27th of last year, so it's almost been a year. So I've actually been thinking about it recently because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost been a year since that happened to me. That was like a super traumatic experience, and you never picture that happening. I don't even think I've known many people.
It's the last thing you want to think about.
Yeah, like I've never known many people who have had that happen, and I was actually in Houston, and I got a call, and they were like, your house is on fire, and I was like, you're kidding. I was like, that's not funny. Don't joke with me like that. And they're like, no, like, I'm being serious. Your house looks like it's gonna explode. And I was like, what are you saying to me right now? And then I heard people screaming in the background, like yeah, it was so traumatic. And I went through like months where I was so depressed. I was so sad, and I just felt like I had to start over. But honestly, everything happens for a reason, and I feel like that's built me up to be even stronger. And I think that's also why I want to help people and make sure people, you know, are covered, because I went through that, and it was like a very traumatizing experience. And but like I said, yeah, it built me. It built me to be here and stronger.
So when you went through being an athlete, student athlete, is there any lessons you took that you still look up to?
Yeah, honestly, so I played D1 softball. So I played at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and then I actually finished at Incarnate Word. I think, you know, being a team player is huge, and knowing that you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I take into consideration, like, hey, like, I work with a team. We have an amazing team of people. I don't know if anyone's ever met our office, but you've met some of them. We have so many agents, and everyone's so motivated, so driven, and we really are doing something there. And for me, being an athlete, I want to make sure that I'm helping coach those below me to be up there with us. Like, I want us to grow. I think being a team player is the biggest thing, being coachable, and I think adapting to change. And I think that's also helped me in the insurance market, is because, you know, I had to adapt to different teams, different coaches. I had multiple coaches. Like, when my first school was going in for one coach, that coach left, then got another coach, transferred, had a different coach, transferred again, had a different. Yeah, it was a mess. It was a hectic mess, but learning to adapt to change is so big. And I think in the world we live in, everyone needs to be able to adapt, because everything is constantly changing. Your environment's constantly going to change. The market's constantly going to change. You have to figure out a way to make it work. And if you're not going to make it work, you're not going to make it.
Right.
So it really is survival of the fittest.
Right, right. If you were to start over, what would you do different?
Ooh. Man, Man, I don't think I could say I would do anything different. If I could start over, I think I would be less hard on myself in certain areas of my life because I'm young. I mean, when you're young, you're going to make mistakes, and those mistakes are going to build you up.
Right.
So, I mean, everything happens to put you where you are, and I think that's, all part of the bigger plan. So I wouldn't change anything there other than just not be so hard on myself. I'm very critical, get upset on myself. Yeah. So that's all I would really change. Forgive myself for mistakes and things.
I think I learned from my own. About a year ago, I was at an office party. Got really drunk.
Oh no.
Yeah, my parents were mad too.
Were they?
Yeah. But that was the worst part. The next day or a couple weeks, I was still hungover, wasn't really feeling great.
Oh no.
So it took a toll on me.
It took a toll. Yeah, but
not a great feeling.
I'm like, everybody does it. You're gonna have your moments. You do, you drink too much or you make a mistake, like anything. I just feel like mistakes happen, and better now than when you're older, right? Like, it's better we learn from them while we're young and grow from it.
Right, yeah. Any goals you have planned out?
So, personal or work?
Any?
So yes, I have a lot of goals. So I did buy my first house this year. My next goal for this year is I do want to buy a new car. I'm actually going to go look at a car today. So I'm really excited about that. But I want to be able to grow within my company to have a huge leadership role. That's one of my big goals. I just want to be somebody that somebody looks up to.
Right.
I work really hard, and I want people to know that I'm that person they can go to who's going to support them. So I just want to have some sort of big leadership role. I want to work myself there, obviously, earn that. And then I want to, I don't know, one day I want to have a custom home. I want to build my own home. I see so many. So that's one of my personal goals for when I'm older. That's not a now thing. Mm-hmm. Right now I have my cute little house that I'm like, okay, cool, I bought my house, perfect little home. But when I'm a little bit older, I want to have a home. I want to have land.
Land sounds good.
I actually want to have animals.
You're on a ranch?
Yes. Yeah, I want a ranch. Not a lot of people know that about me. I'm a huge animal person. I love animals. I could rescue every animal I found, I would. So yeah, I want to have I don't know, horses. I kind of want to have cows. I want to have a garden. I'm crazy. Yeah, I want to have all of that. Right. So one day, that's my future thing.
You grew up in a country or? So
I actually grew up. I was born out here, kind of in the Woodlands area, and then I moved to Cypress. So I went to school in Cypress, graduated from Cy Falls, but we have family in Livingston and Jasper and Beaumont, Harlingen. We had family all over in all these country areas. So we grew up hunting, fishing, going camping in tents and stuff. So my family is very country. Some of my uncles had horses and things like that. So we would go horseback riding when I was little. So I didn't live there, but that's what I've always wanted. I got to experience it, and I want it. I just want to live on land. I love the city, and I want to be close to the city, but I don't want to live in the city.
Right.
So,
yeah. I like the ranch too.
Right?
Ranch life.
It's nice. Good. I was looking at houses in Magnolia, and I was like, oh my gosh, but they're so expensive right now. I was like,
Magnolia's far.
I love it. I like Magnolia.
Yeah.
I played softball at a tomball for a long time, Burroughs Park. So we'd always drive by there. And I was like, I don't remember the houses being that crazy.
I've been out there. I went to a small kickback. Mm-hmm. We were riding horses and bulls and stuff like that. Bulls. It was like a rodeo, but it was a private one.
A private rodeo?
Yeah.
Sounds legit. Sounds very fun.
Yeah, it was fun. If you were to have an idea a life-changing idea that will contribute to our society, how will you build that up?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, I would build it by branding it. Obviously, I would talk about it, get people to obviously believe that it's going to be something so they can help me grow it to build it. I'm pretty big. I'm not big on social media, but I post on social media a lot. So I would post about it to get people to help. But I feel like the biggest thing to even launch something like that would to have the support and the people who believe it's actually going to be a thing behind it.
Right.
So I would probably go that route and then have those people help me with the next steps, because, you know, I could have the idea and then have a team help me make the idea something bigger.
Right.
But that's hard.
It is.
I've never thought about that.
It is. What are some things that you look up to?
Like things or like people?
Or people, too.
Even that's hard. So, I don't know. I look up to my parents a lot. I feel like they've gone through a lot and they've built me to be who I am. They were just super supportive of all my ups and downs. You know, even when they were super mad at me, I knew they were still there by my side. As much as they wanted to kick me to the curb, they were like, they didn't. They didn't really. They didn't really. No, they were just really grumpy at me. I look up to my parents. I don't know. I feel like throughout my life I've always looked up to different people and different things, but I don't really have like a set person that I look up to other than my family.
You're a family person?
Yeah, I'm a big family person. I feel like family makes you who you are.
Right.
And obviously you're going to have your own perks that come out of it too from just meeting people. But I'm a big family person.
Right.
So, I don't know. Other than that, I'm like, I think that's really who I would look up to.
Okay. What's the difference between living in San Antonio and living in Houston?
Ooh, I miss Houston so much. I want to move back so badly. I can't even explain it to y'all. Houston, I feel like, is bigger. You know, it's so big. Yeah. Houston's so big. There's so many different areas. I feel like the homes are so big. I mean, San Antonio has like some big homes too, just in different parts. But Houston's really big. You have your big sports teams. You have baseball. You have the Rockets. You have football. Like, you have so many. Versus San Antonio, I mean, you have
the Spurs.
Just the Spurs, I think.
They have the San Antonio Missions. AA baseball.
Oh yeah, but you never. Oh yeah, I've seen their game. Oh, I was like, I have seen their game. Okay, I've seen a missions game, but I mean, it's not the same, and from that aspect. San Antonio is very. I do think San Antonio is very touristy. You know, because people go to the Riverwalk and the Alamo and things like that. And there are some great things to do in San Antonio. I'm a Houston girl. I'm born and raised here. So I moved to San Antonio. I played softball there for 2 years. That was cool. And then I was like, I left. I was like, I'm never going back. And then of course, you know, I moved back. But I just feel like Houston's really big and there's so many different places you can go. I do like the fact that San Antonio is close enough to many places so you can still travel. So I think San Antonio is good for the smaller city vibe. And then you can go, like, you know, like you're an hour and a half from Austin. You're like an hour from, depending where you're at. Like, my house is like 30 minutes from New Braunfels. You could go to Canyon Lake. You can go, you know, it's not terrible from Dallas or Corpus. And even here, it's a 3-hour drive. Like, that's not horrible in my opinion. But I mean, I'm from Houston, so I'm used to driving, you know, an hour to get place to place. So I will say that's a good difference. Houston traffic's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's getting worse.
It's terrifying. I will say that's the only thing I'm scared about if I were to ever be here again is traffic. So I think both cities have their perks, and it just depends on what people are really looking for. I do think San Antonio has more of the older homes, and I do like the older home look.
It's more like historical.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, you have like the historical district. You have the really old homes. Even my house, I think, is built in like 1960 something, and it's completely renovated, so the inside's been completely redone. But it's that older style. It's not just, you see a lot of these cookie cutter homes now in some of these places, and I don't like that. But Houston does have some more custom homes, I would say, from what I've seen.
Yeah, we have oil money here.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So like you have a lot, but both great cities.
They are. Has there been a moment where you wish you could do different? Have you ever had that client you wish you would have acted different?
A client?
Or
yeah. I don't know.
I personally, when I used to work in retail, there were like moments where I could have handled it different.
Yeah, like talking to someone.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah, I feel like I've never had that like with a client. Maybe with an underwriter where I was trying so hard to convince them of something to help a client, but not really. I mean, for the most part, I handle most of those situations pretty good. I feel like I'm pretty level-headed.
Okay.
There's times where obviously, you can say a phrase and somebody takes a phrase the wrong way.
Okay.
So I'm very careful with how I say things to people. So there's not too much I would really change there either. Sorry.
Right. How important are relationships?
I think relationships are huge. I think whether it's with your family, coworkers, business partners, like anybody, clients, relationships are what are going to build you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just having great rapport and knowing the personality types. I don't know, are you a personality type person? Do you ever look into any of that?
I don't.
So I never believed in personality types to that extent. But we do like the DISC exam.
You are a broker. That's that too.
Yeah, we did one, and then I was like, oh cool. And then they made us do they made us do this really intense one recently, and like reading it is so scary. I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I am the way I am. But it explained, this is how you talk to this person. This is where you and this person, like just the different ways. So I've learned really how to communicate with different personality types. And it's huge because I've learned that even when, selling insurance, some people, they don't want to feel like they're just being sold to. I don't want to be just another sell in somebody's book. Like, I want to be able to relate to you. I want to be able to have a genuine connection. And I think relationships with your partners, like, you don't want to just work with someone just because they do it. You want to work with someone because you like them. Right. You can have a conversation with them. You can, if you wanted to hang out outside of work, like you could. And I think that's just super important because I think it builds you. And if you have a good relationship with somebody, they're more likely going to count on you, and they can relate back to things and know, hey, I have your back, you had my back, kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. So
that's really important. Have you ever made any changes during that process of?
Yeah, I think recently I had to do some self-reflection. Like I said, I'm a very straightforward person. I say things. I'm blunt, but I'm very nice, and I do want the best for everybody. Mm-hmm. So I did have to do some self-reflection of, hey, like, not everybody is the same as you. So everyone has a different learning mannerism. Everybody handles things a certain way. We all see things differently. So I did have to take some self-reflection and be like, okay, like, that's why I brought up the disc. I went back and looked at it and I was like, okay, if somebody has this personality type, they see things this way and you see things this way, where can we make a correction there? Like, how can I make sure something doesn't, like, we don't have a conflict? You know what I mean? So I did have to do that recently, make some changes and self-reflection, and I think it was really good. I think I've been handling myself in a really mature state.
Right.
I'll say it was good. It was needed, especially if I ever want to be a leader.
Okay.
So.
Great. Growing up, what was your favorite subject?
Science. I love science. I actually wanted, when I was going to college, I wanted to be a nurse. So I love science. I love anatomy specifically.
Okay.
The human body intrigued me so much. Like, I loved learning, like, all the bones, all the organs, everything, how each thing worked. Don't know why I feel very weird for saying that, but I thought it was so cool. Hated math. Math
You
is
hated
not
math?
I hated math. Yeah, cannot stand math. I was good at math. I just hated it. I just did not like it.
I was good in math. I just never understood how everything just clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I wish. I was good at it. It was just boring. Science intrigued me. In college, psychology was my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went into being a psych major, and psych, just understanding the human mind and how it works, and, like the different, bipolar disorder, borderline personality, all those different things, like learning about that was super, super intriguing. I was like, okay, cool, this is why I'm crazy. No, this is why I'm crazy. No. But yeah, those are probably my favorites.
Right. I met a professor. He was a psych professor.
Okay.
And he always make this argument that a square is not a square. It would throw me off.
Yeah, I never heard that one, actually. Never heard it.
Yeah. But thank you for coming.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to see you again. Is there anything you want to add on?
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. Obviously, learned a little bit more about me, learned a little bit more about insurance. I know you know plenty, but for anybody looking for insurance, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to be a resource and help you, help clients, help anyone.
Right.
Whether it's questions, shopping.
What's the best way to contact you?
Best way to contact me is either calling me or emailing me.
Which is?
My number is 210-446-1194, and if you want to email me my name, it is Lexi, Lexi.Shaw, SHAW, @goosehead.com. So.
All right.
Awesome.
See you again.
Thank you. Bye.